Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today on this Friday morning. Fridays don't have the same feel that they used to have. You know what I mean? The weekend isn't quite like it used to be for most of us. I know for some of you, you're still plugging away doing the normal things of life, but things have changed for us. And anyway, I was at the church late last night. We were getting a lot of things done. So anyway, I'm sorry I'm a little late with this post this morning, but it's worth it because it's Psalm 27. It's one of my favorite Psalms. And, as a kid growing up in the church, there's two or three different choruses that we used to sing I'm not going to sing them. All right. But anyway, so let's go to Psalm 27. If you want to I'm going to read most of it so you can just kind of listen or follow along with me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evil men advanced against me to devour my flesh, when my enemies and my foe attack me, they will stumble and fall. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. Though war break out against me, even then I will be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, and this is what I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple. For in our day of trouble, he will keep me safe in his dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of his tabernacle and set me high above the rock. Then my head will be exalted above the enemies who surround me. At his tabernacle will I sacrifice with shouts of joy, and I will sing and make music to the Lord. Hear my voice when I cry, O Lord. Be merciful to me. Answer me. My heart says to you, seek his face. Your face, Lord, I will seek. Do not hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger. You have been my helper. Do not reject me or forsake me, O God, my Savior. Though my father and mothers forsake me, the Lord will receive me. Teach me your ways, O Lord. Lead me in straight paths because of my oppressors. Do not turn me over to the desires of my foe, for false witnesses rise up against me, breathing out violence. I am still confident of this, that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong. Take heart. Wait for the Lord. So there's so much in this psalm. And one thing that jumped out at me is when he was talking about one thing I asked of the Lord, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord forever, gaze upon your beauty. I think there's some people saying, well, this doesn't apply to us because we can't go to church. Well, remember, we're new covenant believers. In the old covenant, the Ark of the Covenant was kept in the Holy of Holies, and it was at the tabernacle. This was before the temple was built. David he's not even been anointed king yet. He's still on the run from Saul, or sometime before his inauguration, right? So as he's writing this, he says, I want to be in the presence of the Lord. He's been on the run, so he can't just go to the tabernacle whenever he wants and get to the presence of the Lord and go through the sacrifices. And he longs to have that fellowship, because remember, the Ark of the Covenant was the representation of the presence of the Lord. When Jesus died and he crucified, remember that night there was an earthquake and God tore the separation between the Holy of Holies and the outer court, that place to where only the high priest could go in once a year into the presence of the Lord. You and I have access into the Holy of Holies every day, even while we're sequestered at home. We can't come together. Now, the word tells us don't forsake the assembling of ourselves together. And we will assemble as soon as we can, all right? And hopefully it'll be sooner than later. We're starting to hear some things are moving if we can do it safely, but we're going to be wise as we do it. But here's the wonderful thing. As new covenant believers, we have access to the Holy of Holies because of that veil being torn. So you can have the temple of the Lord right there in your home with you if you take time to get into his presence. Turn off the TV, put the distractions down for a while, and really focus on the Lord. All right, so like I said, there's tons in here, and I'm not going to have time to go for it all. So let me just break it down like this. It says, in this psalm, David teaches us that when we know the Lord and we trust him, that he will help us overcome all the fears that can paralyze us as we're walking through a season. So right now we're walking through a season. This psalm is so apropos for us, right? We don't have enemies coming over the hills in tanks and on horses or chariots, but we have an enemy within, a virus, a pandemic. And so David deals with these fears. The first one he deals with is fears of circumstances in verses 1-6. He didn't close his eyes to the circumstances. There's some people who think faith is denying that there's a virus. There is no virus. That's not faith, that's denial. Faith is saying there is a virus and my God's bigger than that virus and I'm going to come through, right? So the first one is overcoming the fear of the circumstances. Don't let the circumstances, this virus, I don't know about my business, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Listen, these are all very real things that we're going to have to navigate, but don't let fear grip your heart. Stay in a place of faith, even when facing huge challenges. The second one, verses 7-10, he's dealing with fear of failure. I'm not going to deal with this properly. You know what I mean? I don't know how to navigate my business through this. I don't know how to deal with this in my health. I don't know how to deal with this with my family. Listen, he's going to help us. Everything is new for a pastor, right? Ministry, everything's new. So I'm going, Lord, how do I pastor people in light of this crazy situation? But I can't let fear of failure paralyze me, right? I got to keep moving forward. And the last one is fear of the future. There's some people who are looking at this saying, I don't know what the future is going to hold. Everything's going to be different. I don't know. And they're fearful of what the future is going to be. David didn't do that. He didn't know what the future was going to hold. So he just trusted the Lord. And I love that last part. He says that I just trust the Lord that I'm going to experience the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's not just we're going to die and go to heaven, but in the land of the living, I'm going to experience the goodness of the Lord. So will you. Lord bless you. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.